Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I am Deplorable Knitter. This lovely lady is Ann Pinkova, my beautiful co-host. And thanks for joining us this morning. We got a late start because I had no kids and I didn't nobody woke me up. So all of a sudden I was like, oh no. But it worked out in the end, right, Ann?
It did. And as you can see, I'm at a different location. So blame that or not. Doesn't matter. So,
Whatever, it's all good. So before we get going, I have this month's giveaway, which means that I hope that I send it out in a timely fashion because sometimes I get distracted. But this is Neapolitan from Chicken Lady, and it is really pretty. I was telling Anne before we started, like normally brown's not my thing, but with this super bright pink, it really really works, and it reminds me of the ice cream that everybody loves to hate because sometimes all that's left is
who
like the
hates?
strawberry, and I don't want the strawberry. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. You're all wrong.
You and my oldest would get along just fine then because they are the one that eats the strawberry, but the
I mean,
chocolate's
I
where it's
also
at.
like the
So,
chocolate. I am all about the Neapolitan, but
but yeah, so this is a skein of Neapolitan. You can enter to win it when we're done. Comment on the video so we can find your comments. And if you can't wait till the end of the month to get some pretty yarn, use the code Chickadee20 PIK for 20% off your chickenladyfiberarts.com order. Yay!
yeah. And she is restocking a lot of stuff too. I saw, what was it? Totally Tubular, which is a very bright pink with speckles.
Yeah,
And there was another one. I think Airhead was another one that's more pink, but with greens in it. So it's perfect for Valentine's Day.
yeah. And I have a trash bag of yarn coming from her. So
Yay!
hopefully I'll have something to show off from her next week. Hopefully it'll be here next week. I'm not certain. We'll have to see.
Right. I
But
still I won a Chicken Lady gift card for my Batman mitten pattern, and I have yet to spend it. Like I was looking initially afterwards, and then I got distracted. So I need to look over her new goodies. And she has a new colorway of the month, which is Chickadee. Which okay, the cardinal, absolutely stunning, rich reds, beautiful. And the chickadee is all these very little delicate grays in there.
well, I'll have to
And
look. I haven't seen it yet.
it's very pretty. And she
Yeah.
has a couple of other special yarns coming out. There's one, oh man, I'm going to lose the name of it, but it's named after this sort of orange brindle cat. And just the
Oh,
colors that she got out of that are just beautiful. And then there's one in memorial of Andrew, which was Denise from Two Sisters and Some Yarn. It was her dog, Andrew, the executive
okay.
producer. So
Right.
that's also coming out too.
That's cool. Um, yeah, my giant yarn shipment is for my patrons. They're getting some
Oh,
fantastic yarn from Chicken Lady just as soon as it comes. So excited about
nice.
that. And then, of course, because I was making a big order, I had to throw in a couple extra things because
Oh, I mean,
you never know. I mean, I'm already ordering. I might as well like get a couple things sent here, right? That I can
exactly. It's
keep.
coming already.
Don't have to give away. Um, so have you been knitting?
I have been. I
Is it
have.
still your squares?
It is still my squares.
I forgot about those.
Yes, well, and the thing is okay, so I've had a couple of ideas. I actually started writing a list of things that I want to design, and we're it's getting pretty deep. So I'm like, no. This year, I want to design more things. I want to put them out there. This is going to be fantastic. And then I have like decision, all cramped up from it. And instead I just work on the squares that I'm making. And so here, everyone's seen most of these, but the latest one is that one. It's a little louder. Here, starting from the beginning, we have this one, which you've all seen. Last one was all blues, very nice.
I gotta say, I'm partial to the blues.
The blues
That
is
square
very pretty.
really is.
I
Yeah.
do, I do like that one. Um, yeah, this one is more of the kind of black speckles in it. and I haven't posted that to Instagram yet because I have to go around and figure out which each yarn is, and that takes the most time. But
Or you
I've
could write them down when you like take the labels off or put the labels inside of them. I
I
like to do that.
see. I thought, yeah, I somewhere I have from the the banned book ones that Chicken Lady does. I
Hmm.
actually have a little bit of each yarn wrapped on the tag, and then I couldn't find it. And then I didn't do that with this year. So I have to go through our video of when we showed them all off
Oh,
to remember exactly which one is which. Like, trying to remember. Yeah, see, I won't remember because yeah, it's I don't know. They're beautiful. I'm working on it. I will get
they're
there.
all really pretty.
I
And
know. Sorry.
it's kind of neat to see the different, that one that's a little bit less, not planned, but it's a little bit more scrappy looking maybe than like the blues, which is kind of
Mhm.
neat to see how that would turn out too. So that's kind
Right.
of cool.
Yeah. And I don't know. I wonder if it's it's generally going to be a scrappy blanket. There's going to be lots of colors going on, and I'm very excited for it. But there is that sort of back and forth between, no, I'm just having fun here, and but should I have been a little more OCD about this and planned it out more distinctly as I went? But
I mean, even with scraps, you could totally have like purples and pinks and blues and kind of make it
yeah,
like each square kind of coherent. But
I know. And then
however,
it's especially since part of the pinwheel is that the different squares kind of come together for the pinwheels. It was
hmm,
like, oh, should I have stretched more out to balance off of different squares? And also, it's I might run into a problem like I had with my Quinn's quilt, which the Quinn's quilt is in 4 different quadrants. So even if I had and then that one, the first one I did was all color planned out, and the second one I did was kind of, more scrappy. But I would keep like the edge ones the same colors and the center ones the same colors, so it would give it a little. There'd be a little
hmm.
bit of a design, a little bit of a coherency in there. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm going to use this ball of yarn and I'll keep using it on squares until it's done. And then I have to kind of think like, yeah, but will I only have the color in one corner then? Do I want to save bits of the color and have it so that they're all around the blanket? Or do I just want to keep like defer from sewing this all up and then make them more random so they're more spread out across the thing? So
A lot of things to think about.
it is. Oh, and the last square, sorry that I have going is kind of
Oh,
pinks
I really
green.
like that pink on the bottom there.
Yeah,
It's
this one
bright,
was from
bright.
the Grease one, and the other pink. I know this one's Charlotte's Web.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and you can also see that in some of these blocks, I've had to start being even more scrappy and kind of matching the colors up because I've run out of one. And I
Hmm.
no bits of yarn left behind. Like over here, I have this one is the very end of the giver, and with it I have a little bit of you and dye yarn. Her tea cozy yarn. I had like this little ball left over, and the tea cozy yarn, which had a terrible fate. I actually made a tea cozy with it. That part was beautiful, but the tea tray was totally knocked over when a dog ran by. The teapot broke, and the entire thing was stained. So tragedy and woe.
Oh, oh, how sad.
I know. It was
Those
it was
dogs.
cabled. It was beautiful. Like you saw, it's the most delicate speckled purple. Anyways, I'll have to make another one eventually. I still haven't.
It's a travesty.
Anyways, so yes, and in case Neil is wondering, hi Neil. Am I paused?
No,
Sorry.
you're here. You've
Okay,
been
sorry.
kind of going in and out, but you're fine. Your voice keeps going. So,
Okay, I'm sorry. You paused for a second, so I wondered. Anyways, in case Neil is
oh,
wondering, I really, really am weighing my yarn now. I got that all figured out, so I will be able to have those nice measurements for the magazine. Again, it's called the Puzzle Box Quilt. It will be in there. I will be a good girl, and Neil won't, have any last minute anxiety about submissions. So hopefully not. Anyways,
Yeah.
there's Neil.
Is it going to be in this one where I have my own pattern in there too? My
Ooh.
little, geez, I don't remember what I called it, but it's the baby hat. It's this
Mm.
one, which is super fun. And this one I used like a scrap of something because it's a small size, and this one took
Yeah.
like a half a skein of yarn. But yeah,
Yeah. Cute.
cool.
I like it.
It's gonna be in the magazine. Good pattern for Amy, Pro Life Knitter. And speaking of her, two sisters and some yarn, which she's also, she's the lady of many hats. So she's Pro
Yes.
Life Knitter. She's two sisters and some yarn. Is doing the Frog It or Finish It February. So it's kind of given me a little kick in the pants to start working on some projects that have been lingering. It's kind of nice because it's easy to put things aside and be like, oh, I'll get to that. And then, you wander on to another thing.
I know. Well, when she first saw that, I'm like, okay, all right. So what projects do I have for this? And I don't, okay, I have some things like the other Batman mitten, but I need to start that in order to finish it. So I'm like, okay, that's, a thing. I have this quilt I'm working on. I'm thinking of other like deep stash projects I have. I have the second Quinn's quilt. I'm not frogging that because it's
No.
all cut in little squares. I'm sorry. No, I have, then I'm like, okay,
And
there's
you want to finish it too.
yeah.
There's some things that are lingering because you're not going to finish them. And that's the stuff you frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, your quilt is lingering, but that's not something you want to finish that at some point. So that's different. That falls into the that's different clause, and it's totally
that falls into
story.
That's like a year-long project to finish it clause, and I did not use last year to finish it. But
I gave you the perfect plan.
I know. I should use my overly concerned notebook to put my
So I love your overly concerned notebook. It's so funny.
Okay.
But since you got that, I've been writing in my less concerned planner, and it has helped me. Like, I got ready for co-op with it. I made a list. I checked things off. I was like, who am I? This is fantastic.
Right. Okay. So crazy story about the planner. This is not important.
I love this
sorry,
planner
guys. This is
so much.
Okay. So our friend, the lovely Caro Brown, is a master planner. She's like very, very fine, very okay, set goals go. So she has this little stream that she does every once in a while, specifically for authors, but it's a little planning stream. Yes.
I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. Who has a planning stream?
Caro.
Oh, Caro has an overly concerned planner stream? Okay.
No, well, she has a planning stream, and it's like, okay, so here's your goals, and then she like puts a timer on the screen, and then everyone writes out what their goals are. And it's kind of a plan with me thing that she does.
I should watch that because I suck.
Yeah,
I forget to do it.
Nice. And I think whenever she does it live, it's like 2 on a Sunday, which is not a convenient time for me, but I'll sit there and I'll watch the replay. Anyways, so and it's, Caro's lovely, but it's something nice to put in the background. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get myself together. I'm going to plan. So I bought this very concerned notebook, and this notebook is like, hey, there are 6 different sectors.
Concerned.
I know there are 6 different sectors of your life. Have you worked on each of them every week? And then they're like 3-month plans and like half-year plans. And after every month, there's like little coloring sheets to like see how far your goal went. And I'm just like, this is a little much. I mean, it's everything I wanted in a planner. This was all I wanted in a planner. I wanted a planner that had the days of the week on one side and a place for to-do lists on the other side. And that was my main goal here. And they're like, no, do you want, it's like, hi, want to talk about your childhood? I'm like, no, I don't actually. I just want to get my goals down for the week. And
where
I'm
do
just
you
like,
see yourself in 5 years?
I'm like, I don't know. Stop asking me. I don't think we know each other well enough yet. And the planner's like, are you sure? So, but part of it is making 3 months goals. And then it's like, Um, yes,
It's
exactly.
giving. It also gives Anne anxiety, which is part of why.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll be right back. My phone did a thing. Oh wait, I can hear
no,
you.
you're good. I can hear you. We're fine.
Oh good. Okay, never mind. I thought
Okay.
I was gonna have to exit.
Okay. Anyway, so but there's like, like what's your goal? What's the good things that happen if you finish this goal? What's the deterrence if it doesn't happen? I'm like, I got a plan. I know. I know this is all good. I know this is good for me to actually like visualize stuff. But anyways, all of that to say it has a 3-month plan in increments. And as DK told me with the Quinn's quilt is divided into 4. So if I finished one section per 3-month period, that would be an attainable goal. And I did. So got that going for me.
Yep. So
Oh,
it's
wait,
just
I know what.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm just rattling on today.
Go.
But I had originally thought for the frog it or finish it, I have this like half done sweater, but I don't like it. So I think I'm just gonna frog it. But I have the last pair of socks for my last summer Van Gogh sock challenge. Like for some reason I
The
could get
sock
like
challenge that was only Anne doing the challenge, but it was her challenge.
it's
That
it's
could have
my
gone in your planner.
exactly. It's if it wasn't my planner at the time, but it wasn't.
You might have finished
But
it.
my overly concerned planner, when I have an idea for a personal challenge like that again, I can also do that. Um, but it's what is it? I did
My favorite
7
thing is
pairs.
that it's the overly concerned planner. That's
Oh
how
yeah,
she refers to it all the time. This is what she
it
calls it all the time. She'll talk to me about her overly concerned planner. It's very,
I
very funny.
know. I know. And I think I was telling you before, it's like Queen Latifah in Stranger Than Fiction. Like she's telling me, "Hey, have you got your work done?" And I'm just like, just but
Yeah, and I've never
anyways,
seen Stranger Than Fiction, so that doesn't mean
uh,
anything to me, but yes.
it's
Yes.
fantastic. It is Will
Is
Ferrell's
it
best
family
acting
friendly?
role. Not
No.
really.
Okay.
Not like super bad, but there's a couple of scenes in there that you'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
But
Good to know.
anyways, it's losing my thought. But yes, I finished 7 pairs of socks and then I had planned to like show them off all nice when they were all done. I didn't do that. I just put them on my feet. So whatever. But I have half a sock right before the heel. And like I should finish that pair of socks for this challenge. I can easily
You
knock it
should.
out in a month. Should do that.
So,
Anyway.
do you knit your socks cuff down?
Um For that particular one, I did.
Hmm.
Um, I generally like doing toe up,
Hmm.
but the heels are different. So it's kind
Hmm.
of like on what heel I want to do. And because of that one with the opal yarn, because the stripes are in such a way that you can't pull from both sides, I was doing one at a time and I prefer 2 at a time. So I was doing every which direction for that particular
Okay.
thing.
So, I have a sock question, which is why I was asking that.
Uh,
So, yesterday was the first day of my sock knitting class at co op. And the first thing I did was force my students how to learn how to do the twisted German cast on because they need a stretchy top. And I had one student that could not get it, and I wasn't sure if I was being too harsh. You got to be able to get your foot in. Like I
uh-huh.
love to tell them stories like, "Hey, if you don't make it stretchy enough, you can't put your heel through it." Want to know how I know? Because I've done
Fun.
it. Like, um, but yeah, one student could not get the twisted German twisted cast on or Old Norwegian or whatever it's called, and I thought, well, maybe I was being too harsh. But so, what do you use on the top of your socks?
I just used the regular long tail cast on.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I was too harsh on her.
I mean, I guess mine, I don't know. I guess
I have wide
they're,
feet, so I think maybe that's part of why I've had trouble with stuff because like
Mhm.
you know I need extra
Yeah, I
stretch there.
mean, there's definitely been times where it's been a little tight, but not enough
Hmm.
where I was super concerned about it. But I mean, there's ways to do it much better. So, and then
Okay.
if I do toe up socks, I'll do the sewn bind off.
Okay.
The Yeah,
That's
even
good
though
to
that
know.
that doesn't like if it's normally a rib, so that doesn't really do a nice in rib pattern, but it's the nice stretchy one that I found.
Okay.
But
Because
I
so
don't
my
even know
original
how to do a German tubular cast on. I'm pretty basic when it comes to casting on and casting off.
I years ago when I was testing something, it was required for the test net, so I learned it, and I'm like, this is fantastic. It's so stretchy, it looks nice, it lays
Mhm.
flat, it doesn't do any of that flaring, so I just use it. So I'm like,
Nice.
oh, I'll teach my students. This is no big deal. I got the TV ready. I put Very Pink knits up with her slow motion cast on. I'm like, I'll play it on the TV. I'll go around the room. Like, I've never been this prepared ever. I had one student who could not do it. And I like, so all we did yesterday was cast on and join in the round. And I thought that I had given us plenty of time to do that. And it wasn't. And I'm like, so this is the other thing. My original plan for the class had been to knit one sock cuff down and then
Mhm.
to do two at a time toe up for the second half of the semester.
Right.
I think we're just going to make one pair of socks now. I'm not
Mhm.
sure that they are going to be able to do it, but I really wanted to teach them toe up. So I don't know.
Right.
I also want to teach them how to work with DPNs though. That's why I was knitting them the way I was because
Right.
it's a skill. Like I'm trying to at the end of my classes, I don't expect them to be like super proficient. Like they're still going to need help and stuff, but I want them to be familiar with the different skills so that they can use it when they come across it again. Does that make
Right.
sense?
No, that totally makes sense. And especially, I mean, I remember early in the knitting days that okay, when I first began to learn to knit, and I've said this many times before, one lady, she taught me how to knit, just knit plain, and I did
Mm-hmm.
that on my own for a bit. And then we were supposed to meet up again so I could learn more, and then that didn't happen. So I learned like to purl from a book that we had. And then I was just sitting there kind of knitting and purling without a pattern. Like I made scarves and I made a big blanket, and that's all very pleasant. But what really got me to want to learn how to use any sort of pattern were these they were from Doctor Who. It was the Rose Tyler cabled mitts. So having to sit there and figure out A, how to read a pattern, B, how to cable, and C, how to work in the round on DPNs was like its whole different jump up in
It's like a
skill
thing.
set. So yeah. So learning those skills in your class, and I mean, it sucks. So you're learning a lot. I mean, you have a new cast on, but working in the round, working that small is its own little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tension
Well,
and
and
DPNs,
like
so the joins don't ladder. And
yeah, exactly, because that's the thing. So after we get off of this, I actually have to make a video of like this is how you hold your needles. When you
Mhm.
get to the end of your round, make sure you pull it tight. And
Right.
I have I have two adults in the class. Excuse me. And they're actually the ones that are having a harder time because
Mhm.
the other students I've had for 3 years. And so even though they've never done socks, I know that they're proficient in knitting and purling. Well, these
Right.
adults have experience, but I don't know the last time they knit. My girls, I know the last time they knit was right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what I mean? That's been I expect, not that I expected more from the adults, but I didn't expect that they would. I just didn't think about it. I assume that because I knit all the time that they must be knitting too at home, and I don't
Exactly.
think they were. And I'm like, oh, okay, now we're at a
Your
different
students
point.
aren't like sitting there and making hats all day at home. What's their deal?
I mean, it's what I do for fun. I've been talking to. I'm gonna ask my husband. We don't usually do Valentine's Day gifts, but I want. Um, we did a Patreon Zoom the other day with my patrons, and Anne was there, and Tara had this really cool neck light, and I really, really am. I'm gonna ask for one for Valentine's Day because I really, really want one. So anyway, that's my random story about class, and it went really well.
Nice.
Although they hated Very Pink knits, and they just wanted me to walk around the room showing them how to do the cast on, and so that's fine. I just I
Yeah.
had my yarn, they had their yarn. I showed them
Right.
it because it's difficult until you. The one thing she said that was really a good point was it's like a dance. Until you get the steps down, it's awkward. Once you get
Mhm.
it, it's easy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so there was that. And this is the sock I was knitting on Tuesday. And I had hoped to
Oh,
have it
nice.
done for class, but we got sick here. And so I had a couple of days where I didn't knit because I felt like my brain was going to explode out of my temples, which is
Mhm.
never a good day. Um,
Yeah.
but it's almost done. So I'm
I
pretty
like the
excited
color.
about that. Yeah, I picked this yarn. I got a whole bunch of these paint box yarns. There was a sale, and so
Mhm.
I got a whole bunch of them. And I tried to get a whole bunch of different colors, but when this one came, it was a little bit drab, and I'm like, I don't know if the students are gonna love that. So I grabbed one for myself just because I figured, you know.
Right.
So that was that. And then, can I show you the other stuff I got?
Yeah.
My mom tried to call me while we were just a minute ago, so she might not be watching. I got these for her. So we have this store. It's a secondhand craft store. It's
Mhm.
specifically for crafts, and so on occasion I go there. And
Right.
so I was able to get my mom a whole bunch of sock yarn. Somebody must have destashed. So $3 for this red heart, um, two skeins. They're the same colorway.
Nice.
This little dude was 75 cents. I don't think it's a full skein, but it's patents. Um,
Patents is always good.
mhm. Premier sock yarn, another Premier. Look at that. Look at how fun those are. They look like
Those,
summer.
yeah.
Um,
You could
and
do,
this,
okay,
mhm,
I know you said it was for your mom, but you have that really bright one. I'm like, ooh, you could do another one like the couple of hats that you did with it was two color for
mhm.
I forget who you made them for. Some
I made
they
it for
were
my
gifts, I
niece.
know. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. No, and this would be a little bit different than what I did because the other ones I used were variegated, and this has got a stripe. This
Nice.
one I don't think is technically sock yarn because I was looking at it. It's microfiber. So maybe
Oh.
it is. I don't know. But yeah. So that's fun. And then, did you guys know that Hobby Lobby got rid of like all of their good yarn? Like all of their wool, and they barely have any. Um so my mom was bummed because her favorite is their sock yarn and they don't carry it
Mhm.
anymore. Um so I got this. And even though she wouldn't normally pick these colors, I think she'll still be happy because you can't get it anymore. So it's pretty
Right.
exciting.
And also that's a pretty good like dude color.
Although she loves them so much that I could see her just totally making a pair for herself and not caring
Oh,
that she hates the colors. Um,
well, I mean,
not
fair enough.
hates them, but you know, it's not what she would pick.
Right.
And then I got Barocco vintage, a whole skein of
Nice.
just I don't know what's up. Somebody had a lot of black yarn. And then this guy, look at this. This is Shibui knits. I don't know who they are, but this is alpaca, super baby alpaca, and fine merino. And it is so soft. I will just make myself a little onesie out of it so that I can just have it forever.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's not enough to make
Is that one
anything
of
to
those
wear,
like
but
yeah, is that
hmm
one of those like
yep,
yeah,
yeah,
the
it's like a
texture
chainette,
is
but it's so soft.
huh.
And I got a pair of 16-inch needles for $3. And I'm always happy to find these because as we were talking about with the Frog It Challenge, I can never find my hat needles. I have 1,700 things on them. Oh, dude color. You're not allowed to have dude colors unless they're women pretending to be men. True, but you know.
Well, Neil, you know me. You know that
I
many
don't
of my
care.
formative knitting years have been formed by knitting things for guys who are like, yeah, I don't like it because it's the color. And then instead of strangling them, which might have been an appropriate response, I changed my ways so it's something that they like. So I recognize
Hmm.
it's like, okay, that's good. I like that one. That will be
Yeah,
actually useful for knitting for people.
yeah. Therese said her Hobby Lobby went from all the aisles of yarn to like one and a half. That's what ours did too. And there's like out of the 1.5 aisles, like half of an aisle is like the jumbo nonsense chenille, which has its place and is fine. But why do we need a whole half an aisle of that? Like,
Yeah. I
people
mean,
make other things. No, we were super disappointed in our Hobby Lobby. It has
yeah.
gone from being a hobby store to being like Home Goods.
Mhm.
If I wanted to go to Home Goods, I'd go to Home Goods. I want to go to Hobby Lobby to buy hobby things. They're
Right.
annoying. So anyway, that's my story about that.
But yeah, I do, Adam. I really do. But no, I totally get. And I said before too about Joann's that like, and again, it's not like Joann's is like woohoo, the nicest place to find stuff. But there's not a lot of yarn stores where I live. I live in a wool desert. So, if I'm out and about and I'm like, oh, I just need something really basic, like black yarn that's wool. Okay,
Hmm.
I'll just go to the store and no, I
Can't get
mean,
it.
they have a little bit of the patents, but they don't even have the patent sock yarn anymore. And like so yeah, I think I'm going to have to put it in order to scan soon for
Yeah.
some of that good New Zealand wool because I want real wool quality, and I don't know if that's a expense thing, if that's a supply chain thing. Wool is a wartime commodity, people. So not having it's incredibly versatile fiber. It's quote renewable. It doesn't do the whole microplastics thing.
Yep.
It's great for winter. It's even insulating for summer. Wool's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
So we had some conversations about my yarn stash the other day because my husband's like, I was like talking about sock yarn, how I didn't have sock yarn. I had to get some for this class.
Right.
And he's like, you can make like 500 pairs of socks. I'm like, no, that's not all sock yarn. It's not
Right.
all appropriate for that. And I'm like, in any way, I'm going to need it. I'm going to need my yarn for Armageddon. So, and he was trying to explain to me that by the time we run out of all of our other supplies, it won't matter whether or not I have yarn, which is also true. So,
Well, I don't know. It's one of those things who's like, oh, that it's like, oh, you have so much yarn. It's like, no, these are building blocks for specific things, for
yeah.
specific garments. And will the wool quality match each other? If you're making a larger object, do I have all of the colors if I'm working in color work? Okay. And are
Hmm.
all of the colors of the same quality of wool and the same weight of wool? And then going down, it's like, no, oh, you have so much. It's like, no, I don't.
Yeah. So if yarn Mageddon comes, I don't think we'll be worrying about wool quality though. And if it matches, we'll be like the people in um the post apocalyptic times where but instead of being in like gray rags, we're gonna be in like hot pink and orange, and because that's the yarn we have. So
Exactly. It's always whenever it's like, oh, yeah, it's the zombie apocalypse, and I'm running around in my little cotton tank top. And I'm like, wow, I hope you have a box of 100 because those things rip through like nothing. And you're like, fighting zombies and stuff. So you're going to be naked pretty quickly. So you better are you going to patch up? Are you going to sit there with a little needle? And are you going to patch up your little cotton tank top? Is that what you're going to do? Are you have any mending skills? Nope, nope,
hmm,
nothing.
yeah,
There should
yep.
be I'm gonna forget the pronunciation, but the kind of Japanese peasant way of mending, the sashiko,
Oh, yeah. I don't
where
know how to say it, but yeah.
where basically it's normally dark blue fabrics, and if you have a hole, you just slap a piece of fabric over it, and then you quilt it again with heavy white cotton fabric of going over and over and over and make designs. Like
Hmm.
the kind of game of the designs is often that you're going from one corner to another and then going back, and then you're running stitch the whole way through to make a pattern, and it becomes thick with how much fabric and then all the cotton thread
Yeah.
you're running through. You're basically reweaving the fabric over top. That's what we'll be doing in the zombie apocalypse. We'll be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Japs had it
Well,
right.
and Knits and Caboodle says we'll be frogging old knits for the wool, which is true too. We know how to take an old sweater and make it into a new sweater because we have the skills, which is cool.
Yeah. And even,
Or,
you know,
underpants or whatever you need. We can do it
exactly.
all.
Exactly.
Those granny square crochet shorts aren't going to be as weird as we think they are right now.
The granny squares are a little
You know what? Desperate times and all that.
exactly. The illusion of covering up rather than actually. No,
It's a
but
good denser granny square. It doesn't have to have all the holes.
no, okay, this is getting off the beaten path and weird, but Annie from A Stitch in the Sky, she had an old knitting book and it was like knit activewear. And I gotta say, I am absolutely fascinated by old-fashioned patterns for knit skivvies. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, and here's your little undershirts and your tank tops and everything else. I'm like, this one day, man, one day, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be the one at knit night saying, "Look at my lacy underthings." Except, no, that's weird. I'll keep it to myself. But the idea
I mean, you can
of
tell people you're
knitting,
doing it, but you don't have to show them.
exactly, I'd be like, just imagine this in theory. I really don't need anybody to see this ever.
There you go. They make perfect sense according to Neil, so thank you.
No, and there are companies that do merino underwear, like, you know, not hand knit, but um yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
I mean it's a fantastic material. So
I
anyways,
believe you.
that's my rant today. I and especially since um so much of my quote knitting style is basically vintage activewear anyways, that I'm, you know, always knitting these, you know, ribbed beanies with stripes on it that have the logo on the side and stuff. That's pretty, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just an extension.
You were you were born 50 years too late, 60 years too late. You could have been totally right in with the times.
112 years too late. I mean, like
Whatever.
all of it. I'm just wrong. But
Back in the day, my mom and I wanted to be graceful ladies and like hoop skirts and stuff. And then we decided that that would suck because we would probably be like the servant class. And so we would have to do our work in low skirts and shit. And then we were like, oh, that's a bad idea. It'd be lovely to be. I mean, I like being comfortable, but there's something about the back in the day when everybody was lovely and graceful. And you see the people getting on the planes in the 50s in their suits and their Sunday best. And now we have people that can't even get out of their pajamas. It's like,
yeah.
hmm.
Well, I
What?
would I mean, with the sort of thing that I would say that, I mean, according to old Charlie Dickens, who is the longer I live, the more he was right about everything. That man knew people. But there was always kind of like a kind of slovenly underclass, like in
Mhm.
every era.
Right.
So like what
Are you
it's
saying I
just
would have been slovenly back in the day too?
no. I'm saying that the idea of like, oh, everybody was always so high class and put together. Like, no, there was also kind of a there
But I
was always
think
the
back in
people
the
who
day
were
there was always standards though. Like you might have had a mended dress, but you would always wear your best dress out. Like, do you know what I mean?
right.
So,
Yeah, and I mean, there's like, you know, stories from the 1800s. I was watching I forget who it was. I was watching a video about corsets, and okay, this is mini rant for today. Everybody's all like, "Oh, well, corsets are horrible." No, they weren't. And also, it's much kinder if you think about body image to say, "Hey, I'm going to wear clothes that structure themselves so that I have the in style figure of the time, and
mhm,
not." You know, that I'm going to, you know, Brazilian butt lift myself instead of having
right.
having a hoop skirt. That's just ridiculous. Like it's you have to readjust your own body to fit the figure instead of adjusting your clothes to get the figure you want.
Right.
And yes, everyone can breathe in corsets. Don't. Anyways,
Well,
but sorry.
before you go on your rant, I used to sell wedding dresses, right? And
Mhm.
one of the things we would always tell our brides is having the proper undergarments is going to help you with your dress. People are like, oh, I don't want a big hoop on my skirt, or I don't want to. If you're wearing a bra that goes from here to your hips, it's going to hold up the weight of it and you're going to look fantastic.
Right.
Because we had so many people who are like, I'm not going to wear a bra. Honey, wear a bra. You're going to have those pictures for the rest of your life. Trust me. Anyway, yes, of course it's.
No, I was gonna say that there I'm trying to remember. It was like a weird ad or something, or not an ad, maybe advice or some remnant of something from previous era. But it was something that somebody wanted to hire a servant for their house. And if someone showed up and the woman wasn't wearing a corset, they were out. It's like, well, that's weird. That's oppressive. Like, no, this woman does not know how to dress herself correctly, that she is not
Mm-hmm.
put together. And that is a reflection of if she is going to be a diligent employee. So that was considered to be like a this person doesn't, you know.
Well, and there's also the whole like your people that work for you represent you and that you want them to fit a certain mold, which heaven forbid you say that nowadays.
Right.
Okay, so this is off topic, but it made me think of it. I missed part of the story, but the gist of it is that somewhere in the country, Walgreens is removing its stores from a predominantly black area because of crime.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Oh, you're $1 million company. You should be able to keep your stores in the area." Why should they keep their stores in the area if people are stealing from them? Like, it's the same kind of thing. Like,
And
know how to
especially if you,
act so
yeah,
that you can have what you need. Like,
yeah, and also especially it's like people are stealing from you and you have no recourse. Why? Why would anybody have a store? Why would anybody have anything if you cannot stop theft? If you cannot have your own property, if you know the store itself isn't being valued, why?
yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And I guess that's kind of what made me think of it. Like, you should be able to expect people to act a certain way. And yeah, Neil wants us to be wearing corsets and hoops during the next Name Wars. Since you see this much of me, I'm just going to tell you that I am. So
Um,
whatever.
Unfortunately, I don't own a corset. I'm for that, not so much for the hoops, not my era.
Mm, yeah, but yeah, Walgreens is not set up to be a charity, and the fact that we even live in a country where this is a conversation is disgusting. Just my thing. So
Yep,
anyway, moving on. And
definitely.
I don't know how that tied in, but it did in my brain. So that's see, this is why I have trouble sometimes because that's where it works. I'll be doing something, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, Walgreens. Don't know where it came from, but there you are.
No, it's important. But
But I'm a bit
anyways,
tired today. Sorry.
that's
The
okay.
first day of co-op always takes it out of us.
Well, takes it out of you and your family, us, not us.
No, no, yeah.
I don't
Okay.
have the emotional labor of you at co-op.
It's so stressful. I love it, but it's so stressful and it's so much. And
Mhm,
I forgot to eat breakfast yesterday because I was making sure everybody had what they needed.
mhm,
Like, and then second period when I'm trying to teach people how to do the German twisted cast on, I was starving.
mhm.
It's life.
Always a mistake.
But so what else, Anne?
Well, kind of the big news story was, you know, speaking of Walgreens being robbed and not being able to do anything about it,
Hmm.
there were those four migrants who beat up a cop in New York City and then were let
Oh,
go
this
to
dude?
software. Yeah.
Hmm. Nonsense.
Hmm. But yeah, a lot of people were contrasting that with Daniel Penny's case, the Marine who,
Hmm.
was there's the guy who was crazy in the subway and he went to restrain him and then the guy subsequently died, which is sad. But also that he was threatening everybody, like, I'm ready to die, I'm ready to go to jail. And this guy stepped up so he wouldn't hurt any. And Daniel Penny stepped up so this guy wouldn't hurt anybody.
Hmm.
He is going to court for that and is in jail because of that. But the four
Hmm.
migrants beating up a cop, they're okay.
Yeah, no bail, no nothing, just out.
Yeah.
Freaking
Not even pretending to be like, oh no, that was an issue.
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Okay, you in a group, you beat up a cop. Do you say sorry at that point? I mean, I guess you could, but like that's not like a, oh no, there was some sort of a misunderstanding here. No, there wasn't.
Hmm.
It's like, oh no, he was being oppressed. No, that wasn't.
What are we, Monty Python?
Exactly. It's like I
Oh
was
man.
only beating up that cop because he did no.
So another slightly related thing that I saw today on the news. Apparently, I shouldn't watch the news directly before coming on here because I've got fragments of stuff in my brain. But in El Salvador, they've got all the gang members only allowed to be in their underpants, running, like being like made to sit on the concrete floor in their underpants with their hands behind their backs with their heads down. And since they started punishing people like this, guess what? El Salvador is doing fantastic.
It's almost
Because
it's
if you
almost as
don't let them do it, they stop. Go figure.
what you mean, like real consequences when you are publicly shamed for doing crime,
Hmm.
in addition to whatever, jail time or anything else they might serve.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I I think that we need to have punishments. There need to be consequences. I
Mhm.
made one of my kids cry the other day because I asked them to do something. And then I asked them to do something. And then I asked them a third time, which a lot of parents wouldn't even do. And after that, they got punished and they got sent to their room.
Mhm.
Shit happens. If there's no consequences, how do you learn anything?
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry. Like I said, it's all loosely related in my brain this morning.
Mhm. Oh, totally. Oh, and okay, so last Trump trial update I heard, they are no longer going to do his case before the elections, that they have pushed it back indefinitely.
Really, I didn't
Which
hear that.
good and bad, I guess, that you don't have the trial going while the elections are going, but I don't know. There's a bit of a, I don't know. There are shenanigans afoot, and I'm sure they'll
Hmm.
pull each and every one of them.
What else do we expect? Really? Ooh,
True.
Ilhan Omar. What about her? You hear that, right?
Oh yeah, with her.
I'm working for Somalia from the US. I think that she needs to be sent back to Somalia, right? Isn't that like, didn't she take an oath to be like a person in our country and like to represent our, no, you're not supposed to be representing anybody else's interests.
No, I mean if you were, say, an ambassador from Somalia, that would make sense. If you were running some Somalian-based organization in the United States, again, that would make sense for you to say that you have allegiance to
Yep.
Somalia. But no, you took an oath to serve your people in the United States.
Hmm.
So,
Yep. It's disgusting. And the fact that like we are okay with it is just insane.
yeah.
Not that we're okay with it, but that, they're not even pretending to, they're saying the quiet part aloud now.
They
They're
are.
they're not
And
even like trying to like hide what they're doing, and that's the part that's like, holy
oh,
shit, man.
it's the two-tiered justice system though. That
Hmm.
like, oh well, Ilhan Omar, she's literally working for Somalia. That's that's a-okay because she's a part of the quote right side. And she can have terrorist ties, and she can just straight up, she married her brother, okay? And
I love it that every time we talk about her, you go back to that. Like, it
it's
tells you everything you
no,
need to know about this person.
I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. Gonna go out on a limb here. Not
Yeah,
cool. And it's like, oh, that's fine. No, no, it's not. Actually, why did anybody tolerate this to begin with as a base level of,
right.
oh, it's okay, she married her brother? Like, no, no, she
Yeah,
married her brother to get into the country. That isn't
right.
cool. There's
No,
no, yeah.
because
And
there's no respect for our laws or anything. We just do
no,
whatever
but
we want.
that's the thing. It's like, oh well, she's fine if she marries her brother. Like, incest is cool, I guess, if it's her. If there is gay sex in the Senate chamber, that's fine. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a-okay in
Maybe it's
Somalia.
okay in Somalia, and maybe. I don't know the answer, man. It's ridiculous.
No, but that's the thing though, that it's like, no, this is actually very, very uncool. And yeah, and then on the other side we have, you know, Trump, who is being you know, under that he's on trial for things that no one else has ever excuse me,
Bless
no one
you.
else has ever gone to trial for.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about him in the bank thing,
Mhm.
and his fraud trial, and it's like there were emails that came out of the banks like trying to get his business because it was going to help them. And so I don't like make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You cannot be saying that he committed fraud when like people were begging him and he paid the interest and he paid back the loan and nothing. Nothing. It's shit.
Yeah, or the defamation case as like Trump has to pay this woman money because she said he raped her and there is no proof of this.
Hmm.
None of her facts stick up or hold up. There's no like
And
what
he
she
was
says she's
found.
wearing doesn't make any sense according
Yeah.
to when the date was. Um, that's just none of it is, but she said this. He said she lied about it, and that was such a harm to her reputation.
Just don't even have anything to say about that. I mean, lying liars lie. That's what they do. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene did uh, request Ilhan Omar to be censored. And they do need to revoke her citizenship because she's obviously not working for us.
Mhm.
I don't know why we. Joe's Web says Cheeto Puff 2024. I'm gonna assume that that
Amen.
means Trump. So I'm with you. Uh, is the next thing in Nevada the next caucus? I think it is.
Okay.
And
I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, it's over.
right,
Uh,
right.
I don't know.
I think she's staying until South Carolina. I
Yeah,
think that's after Nevada, so I think that's what it is. So
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I said it before, but Nikki Haley has the same support now that she did when she started, which is
none.
none. Total astroturf. Again, I know I said this before, but I apologize for repeating myself. But Nikki Haley is, if anybody is a genuinely Nikki Haley supporter, they are in their own little elite bubble who do not hang out with the base of the Republican Party. They don't.
Hmm.
They don't hang out with Trump supporters,
Right.
even if they're on the quote Republican side. They are on the Trump supporters are so disgusting and beneath us. We do not associate with them. That is the type of thing that is the never Trump, never ever 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 Trump angle that the Nikki
Mm-hmm.
Haley people come from. They're all like, oh, politics and not personality. And then they have the worst politics. They have the worst policies, and it's all for government control, control, control. The DeSantis people were genuine people in that. Okay, of course they're genuine people because we all know people who supported DeSantis who had whatever troubles with Trump. But that was DeSantis support kind of ran into that same problem too of, oh, well, he's not divisive like Trump is. And
Mm-hmm.
then he flaked, which is
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate because we all hoped that he would be great. But it's and even Vivek did the whole like, oh, well, if you're voting for me, you're saving Trump. It's like, no, you're not, Vivek. And Vivek is now more in the limelight, being kind of Trump's toady than he was just by himself, which is its own weird little thing. But that the DeSantis people and the Trump people at least hung out. They hung out online. They memed together. They were essentially two parts of the same group. That kind of there was some back and forth between them of some people, joining whatever groups. When DeSantis did not do well in the primaries, his supporters went, well, crap, it's over. And then his campaign, looking at the support, looking at his numbers, said, well, crap, it's over. So he got out, not with particularly good grace, but okay, whatever. Goes back to being governor of Florida. He does great as governor of Florida. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that because the support was real and there's real communication between base and candidate, DeSantis could then shuffle out. That you have the Haley thing, there is what base? What anything besides
I've never come across anybody who's interested in her.
right.
Like, are they the closer to center Democrats that want her? I don't get it because I don't know anybody who's interested.
Right.
And Nits and Caboodles was talking about the thing that I was. Oh,
no, I'm
that
still
won't
here.
happen to Anne. But Trump's not on the primary ballot in Nevada, but the caucus is where the actual election takes place, so it doesn't really matter. It just is kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely trying to screw him up, and as has been pointed out, again by other people too, that not depending on what you think of Abraham Lincoln, that what happened in the Civil War at the beginning was that Lincoln was not even put on the ballot of Southern states. If you don't give the people the ability to elect somebody, then if they become a leader, they are an unelected leader, which is unconstitutional. And also, at a more basic level, the people feel that they're not represented, that they're no longer a part of the whole, and we have issues. These are not issues we want. Okay? It's just messy and bad.
The whole thing is messy and bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really yeah. The saying history is if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. I feel like perhaps we have some troubles coming our way.
I know, and there's some talk about Carrie Lake in the comments. I do like Carrie Lake. There's a couple of little policy things I'm like, not so great, but in general, she sticks to her guns. She's fantastic, though.
She can't be bought, which is nice.
She exactly. Though I would much rather her be in Arizona and challenge the Arizona system and help the elections there, figure that out, go down the line with the issues that they have with voting machines, the issues that they have in courts. I'd rather her fight the system there and see progress there than I would have her as vice president, though I'm sure she'd be an excellent vice president.
Yeah. It's all very interesting. So I can't wait to see what happens at the primaries this coming week. So we'll have to update you on that.
Exactly.
And yeah, she needs to close the border too. That's something else that she can help with down there.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
definitely. That was a previous issue with federal government versus states, that they actually put container boxes as a wall there, and the federal government said that they had to take them down. But
makes you think that the federal government's not really looking out for the people, doesn't it?
crazy.
A little bit.
What would give you that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know these things, right? It's above my pay grade. But all right, Anne, it's been that long. So enter to win Chicken Lady Fiber Arts Neapolitan yarn. It's very pretty and lovely, and really looks like the ice cream, because
It
who
is
doesn't
very.
love ice cream? And you can use the code Chickadee20 PIK
Yes.
for 20% off. And
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Yeah, check out Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. We'll have to announce the giveaway winner next week,
yeah,
because we weren't
we didn't
prepared.
plan ahead right now, which happens sometimes.
Right.
Not us. Never are we unprepared. I don't know what you're talking about.
Never. But yeah, we have a couple of cool interviews coming up, and yeah, see you then.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week. Check out Anne's new blog, annepankova.com.
Oh, yeah.
Check out my Patreon. Check out our Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring the bell so that when we do lives, you know.
Exactly,
Right?
because some of our lives are wacky and unannounced, like this one.
Yeah, because sometimes we oversleep and life happens. So
It's true.
excellent. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, bye.